Welcome Aries, thank you for joining me for your monthly forecast for May for the Sun or the Ascendant. If you've yet to subscribe to my channel, I'd be honoured if you did so now. Also, any likes or comments, I interact with every single one. Also, can I just say, if you'd like to subscribe to my monthly astrology magazine, regular email updates, or your free daily horoscope, please see the link beneath this video. Aries, we're living in truly momentous times. There's been a huge welter of energy right at the top of your scope, your 10th solar house, as this year has begun. This is your role in life, it's your responsibilities, it's your obligations, it's the things that you've worked painstakingly hard to establish. Maybe it's to do with the successes you've had or sometimes the challenges. But all of that has come under huge pressure in recent months. This month is going to be a month of transition, but I think there is going to be a sense of coming to terms with the fallout of what's happened. The Sun is in the sign of Taurus, along with Mercury, at least through to the 10th. Now these two are going to help you to think about everyday finance. But on the 7th, we have a full moon in the passionate sign of Scorpio, which is going to be very much to do with longer term finance. Now the Scorpio full moon each year is always very intense, but this one, along with the Sun in Taurus, links to Neptune for the whole of the second week of this month and into week 3 too. My advice to you is to listen very carefully to your instincts in terms of whatever decisions you make. I don't think that your sixth sense is going to fail you. You can be a very instinctive sign anyway, but you're going to be that much more sensitive this month, particularly once your ruling planet Mars moves into this sector on the 13th. So there could be a sense that there are things to clear up. So this fallout is going to be going apace from that time. Also on the 11th, Saturn, the planet of structure, goes into a retrograde in the sign of Aquarius, which is about humanity and about your friendships and longer term hopes. But also on the same day, Mercury moves into the sign of Gemini, of course, which it governs. And this is a really good news story. Also, as this month begins, your sector of everyday communication continues to be blessed by the gorgeous Venus, which is very seductive, but also very skilled. Your ideas are going to be ablaze this month. Come into terms with the changes that have happened, but you're going to find yourself much more inventive. We're going to move from the reality, sifting through the fallout and starting to develop the ideas of how we can all move forwards. And you're going to be one of the leaders within that. Also, the North Node, the point of destiny, which enters Gemini on the 5th of this month for an 18-month stay, is a big shift in the heavens for us all. Moving from Cancer, because this works in adverse, we're going to move from that very emotional, very security, very environmental vibe, which has been so strong in its competition with the more material vibe of the Capricorn energy. So we're moving into an age where communication becomes so important. Now it is true that obviously if we're all still being asked to stay very close to home, that Venus's romantic potential could be somewhat curtailed, rather ironic, as she does go into a retrograde this month on the 13th. But actually Venus is in a right angle with Neptune for the whole of this month. So whatever your romantic situation, there is the potential for some confusion, mixed signals, perhaps deceit. I have just to be honest about that. But if you do get chatting to someone, even if you're socially isolating yourself, I think there's going to be plenty of activity online. Just be cautious, because someone could present themselves in a way which might not be a reflection of reality. In fact, Venus is going to be squaring up to Mars in week 2 of this month. Now that can increase your desire, your libido, but also could see you a bit more impulsive about getting into a clinch with someone who might not be the right person for you. But perhaps more seriously, it's Saturn going into a retrograde on the 11th, which it will continue to near to the end of September, which is so important. Initially, that is for the whole of this month going to be in Aquarius. But I think what Saturn in Aquarius since the 22nd of March has been teaching us is that we have to work together, that we don't necessarily have the opportunity to do exactly what we want, that sometimes we have to think about the wider good of everybody. Saturn going into a retrograde sees it tip back into the sign of Capricorn from the 2nd of July. So by the autumn in the Northern Hemisphere, it is inching backwards towards Pluto. So I think from the financial potentials that we're involved in, there is still a chance that there could be some rumblings around that time of the year. But what this part of the year is informing us, even though that Jupiter does go into a retrograde on the 14th, which is like a huge Mercury retrograde, is that from the 21st to the 23rd, Mercury and Venus come into alignment. And that can be a magical time, despite Mercury meeting Venus as Venus is going backwards. I think there could be an exchange of ideas for you at that time, which can be really critical. Also with Mars moving into your 12th house from the 13th, someone from your past could be a critical player in your future, or you may decide to reshape old skills and ideas in a new way as Mars forges a marvellous angle to Uranus from the 19th through to the end of the month. So innovation based on hunches is very much to the fore. Now, on the 21st, the Sun also moves into Gemini. So you can see we have a trend developing here, followed by a wonderful new moon in Gemini on the 22nd. Now this new moon forges a gorgeous trine to Saturn. So although Saturn's rotating backwards, it is providing a security for this new moon. And I think this can be the time that a new world order, no, not that new world order, just a new way of all of us looking at things. And I think it's going to create a sense of optimism. Now, with Mercury moving on the 29th into the sign of Cancer, it's not at its best in Cancer. I said that in the yearly forecast for your sign. Mercury here can be a bit bogged down, a bit subjective, a bit moody. And also, the last 3 days does see the Sun squaring up with Mars, which is quite a kind of feisty influence. So it's possible that someone could be a bit two-faced, a bit gossipy. So keep your cards close to your chest. But we do have a fantastic link from the 11th through to the 16th between the Sun and Pluto. So how you're going to shape your resources before the ideas start to flow is all going to be part of this evolutionary month. I'm getting a vibe that for sure coronavirus may be here to stay, but our ways of dealing with it are going to become much more nimble. There's going to be a lot of lessons that have been learned from the tragedy of other people's deaths in China, in Iran and Italy mainly, but obviously in other places too. And I think what we're all going to be experiencing is a new understanding of how we have to live our lives. And that may be that there may be some compromises to take. But if you have felt yourself very, very focused on those goals, on those ambitions, on the material plane, I think things are going to be moving round to more the interconnecting plane. It's about sharing ideas. It's about feeling that we're connecting to other people. Now, for you personally, that can be neighbours, it can be siblings. There may be an increase in the potential for you to communicate around those areas in a way which can actually please you. You may find yourself as being something of a leader in your immediate locality. But I think we all are obviously wanting to feel a sense of security. And I think a sense of security can come from an improvement in movement. I think there is going to be some movement starting up. The restrictions that have been so strict will be relaxed to a degree. I think what's been needed is much more leadership, not necessarily fearful messages, but leadership of how we can go forwards. And that beautiful new moon in Gemini, the North Node, Mercury, the Sun, and also Venus, all in Gemini this month, are going to see a speeding up of energy, a sharing of ideas, a greater activity going on, a great amount of physical movement. But most of all, we are going to have to rethink in some ways. And I think the full moon, therefore, on the 7th, just asks us to lower our expectations about the material plan and appreciate more what we already have. It's been a real pleasure being with you. Thank you so much for joining me for your monthly horoscope forecast. I'd love it if you would subscribe to my monthly magazine and my regular mail-outs, which are high quality astro journalism. You can also get your free daily horoscope within this emailed to you each day. Then again, if you'd like to have a one-to-one with me or order your personal 12-month forecast and character analysis and get 30% off them, please see the links beneath this video. But for now, good luck and goodbye.